Derek!
That was new, wasn't it? Hey, Derek! Not even close.
Trying to find other players to inspire us when we're playing an SG other than Angus Young.
There's enough of that stuff going on.
Okay, despite what you might be seeing behind us here, of six almost identical looking guitars, there are differences. And this video, we're going to talk about the new Epiphone 2020 SGs.
2020,
We're actually going to talk a little bit about the Gibson 2019 SGs, because I'm not entirely sure we actually covered those last year.
No, we didn't, because we never had them.
And then, in the spectacular and only the way that we can do it styly, we are blindfolding up and seeing if we can tell the difference between one and the other. So let us start, Pete, where it all began, way back in 1961.
Yeah.
When Gibson made the crazy decision to discontinue the Les Paul, bring out a guitar that looked like this, stick Les Paul's name on it. Les Paul objected, going, don't put my name on that, I don't like it. So they called it the SG for solid guitar. And
is that what it stands for?
Yes, and then, so flip these round, because you've got them both there.
Yeah, this is 61.
Easy to spot, because a modern day one has the bigger batwing pickguard on it, and you can see the 61 had just a much smaller pickguard.
I like this smaller pickguard better.
And so there we are. So let's start with the 61.
And you want to do, you grab that, and I've got the...
So as we have been explaining in all these Epiphone 2020 videos recently, from 2020 onwards, the Epiphone range is designed to mirror the Gibson range.
Yeah.
So by and large, if there's a Gibson version, there's probably an Epiphone version.
Exactly.
They've changed the headstock on the Epiphones to look a little bit more Gibson-y.
Logo, they're using the same font as on the Epiphone logo now. They make them all more simple. There's not all the push-pull stuff. They've got the modern range for that now. Pro buckles again, same as on the Les Pauls. It's got a mahogany body and neck. It's got the Laurel fingerboards with the old style tuners here. But it does look to me like it is kind of they put like a
I was looking at it going, where the edge is sort of beveled off here.
If cameras can catch that.
On the Epiphone, it kind of almost has like a two-tone red colour, which of course you don't get really on the Gibson. And
so that's one piece.
On closer inspection, is because what they've used to get that really classic high-grade looking mahogany on the front and the back, they've put a very thin sort of veneer on the front and the back. And then, of course, the edges where you can see it's still mahogany, but it's not that kind of, I don't know if it's quarter sawn or whatever they do on this to really get the grain to pop. So that's definitely on the Gibson. You can see why, or not, you can see it again. This is a single piece, or at least probably a two-piece body. that might be multiple pieces, but
Yeah, it
by
could be.
putting the veneer on top, you kind of disguise that. But it is a bit of a sort of giveaway on the edges,
yeah,
isn't
but
it?
it looks kind of cool.
You don't. Sometimes you look at it and think, is it just the light? But
Dude,
anyway.
we go back. It's £399. Links below. I think we mentioned it before, but they've probably got the best out of what they can for the amount of money.
Yeah.
What do you expect? If somebody commented on one of the posts and said, oh, if that had a maple top on it, then I would be right in there. And I'm like, yeah, but then it's not going to cost for 400
If only that
quid.
was nitrocellulose finish, I'd be saying it's like,
I would buy one.
Then
but
you just stick that's like 10 times more expensive than doing
exactly, and it takes longer and all this sort of stuff. So there's much more work going into it.
So
But
that's the
anyway,
61 SG.
yeah.
Let's hear some tones
Very
and compare it to
simple.
this one.
So here's just a it's just an A chord here. Tell you what, it plays so nice.
Good.
There's no sharp fretches. There's
No sharp,
I said that
no sharp
yesterday.
fridges.
No sharp
in
fridges.
here. That's excellent.
Anyway, 1Fs, middle passage. And the bridge. Okay, so a little bit of gain from the Dane. All right. Here's my treble sound. Sounds great, man. Let's put a little bit more gain on there, see.
Can we? I'm interested. I really want you to play this because I want it all to be through your amp. But I just want to hear the difference. So the 61 Gibson SG, which is £1,000 more, mind, I think. So this has the burst buckers, so the Gibson burst bucker 61. So obviously wound to be more like the sort of the PAF kind of vibe that was in the original. Let's just have a listen. See if there's anything that really stands out.
I'm going to say the same to the Dane,
different.
but a little bit of more. It's more clear.
More clarity.
Absolutely. And that's
So
faster.
there's slightly less like sort of that kind of
Yeah,
vibe,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
A
let's
little
try
bit
it.
less.
Let's try the other one.
Almost identical neck profile on the two. It's going to be fun when we do the blindfold challenge.
So here's the same blick. Oh, see, I'm reaching for the...
Yeah. It's more muffled, isn't it? Yeah.
Actually, to be honest, when we did the Rabir did the blindfold, we only used the back pickup with gain on it.
Right.
Just to keep it like really simple. Otherwise, that's definitely more. I mean, playing wise, there's not much in it.
Well, look, so
Feeling wise, sorry, it's feeling wise, yeah.
So that's the 61 SG. Great guitar. I mean, as I said, who wouldn't want an SG? Now, before we go on to that,
I don't have
Pete,
one.
Before we go on to that one, can
Yes.
you take this one, please?
Yes.
So, the other crazy thing that Gibson did, feel the weight difference, and it's got to all be from that tailpiece. The other crazy thing that Gibson did with the 61 SG was put a thing called a Maestro. Monday. Was do a Maestro Trem system. Now, let me see, could Taylor just, I really want to get a close-up of the actual mechanism, really, because whereas Fender were doing clever things with springs and all this kind of stuff, really, other brands, and Gibson included, were just basically going, what if we just bend a bit of metal?
Yeah. It's great, man. It feels great.
It's pretty stiff. I mean, I don't think you could really go for this without risk of seriously damaging the guitar. But the 61, I mean, I love all the engraving on the cover here on the tailpiece.
But look at this.
Yeah, so
that's got it.
And I don't think this has ever been available in an Epiphone guitar before. So I've seen it in a Gibson guitar before, but not in an Epiphone guitar. So you've now got a choice of a Gibson 61 with a Trem system, or an Epiphone one. In fact, if you're really feeling crazy, there is even a Gibson one of this with the sideways.
With that one?
Yeah, so actually as you do that, it activates the Trem system, but there's no Epiphone version of that, so we didn't get one. All the same spec basically on this guitar, other than the addition of the Trem system. So let's have a look.
It sounds
more open, doesn't it?
More open than this one.
Just goes to show, doesn't it, that every single guitar, even you can change the tiniest thing on it, and wood. Stuff changes.
Oh, I almost did it again. Here's the Gibson. Again, much more open.
Yeah, they're
more open.
Less bassy. It's more what I would think an SG. It's more I'm used to an SG sounding.
Oh, it sounds good. The Dane sounds good, man.
Yeah. No, it's illegal. So we'll jam a little bit on these as well, and we'll do some blindfold stuff. But that's these again, 61 SG, available either as an Epiphone or a Gibson with the Trem system.
And 499 quid for that, man.
Yeah, and I think it is 1,000 quid more.
$2,000.
So like 1,500, I think they are. Or,
Were they?
I think so.
I thought it were $2,000.
No,
199. 199. I'm always wrong anyway.
Where are we now? So alternatively, you have the modern SG stand. It's not called the modern SG stand. It's just called the SG standard. But if you like, it's the current one. Bigger scratch plate, as you can see, and it has the 490R and 490T rhythm and treble pickups in it. 490 has been in the Gibson range forever. I think probably since the 70s. It's one of the hotter pickups.
Now the
pickups on the Epiphone one are the Alnico Classic Pros, and according to it's not really definitive on the website what the difference in the neck profiles are between the 61 and the standard. Suffice to say, they are described differently on the website. So perhaps Pete can give us a bit of a.
To me, they feel very similar, maybe slightly thinner.
I don't think there's any other. There's certainly no difference in terms of the materials used for the timbers and everything. The tuners.
Timber.
That was the other thing we spotted actually.
Yes.
So the Gibson SG standard has, like a lot of modern Gibsons do, gone over to the Grover tuners. So I was kind of suspecting that the Epiphone would have followed suit with their SG standard, but they haven't. Oh, hey. Controversial. They've stayed with the vintage sort of Clusen style tuners.
And if this is a mistake, then I'm sure we'll see it rectified.
We've got a one-off, yeah. I don't think so. I mean, but who knows?
Yeah.
So, tones, Mr. Pete.
Okay. Clean.
Doesn't sound as gainy.
Sounds less. Very similar, but we don't know. So
I know it is.
Let's do some gain.
Okay. We'll do this one But then I want to hear the 61 versus the...
That's exactly what I was...
Yes.
It's more similar. Mm-hmm. There's just a door that opened without nothing.
The door opened over there to the toilet. I think it's Taylor's fart trying to escape.
Bit fatter than that one, I'd say, but here's some gain. It's almost like there's more output in that one.
It's so super weird because I'm kind of, and now I'm confusing myself because I think that the 2SG standards sound, the Epiphone and the Gibson sound more similar than the Epiphone and the Gibson version of the 6.
These two, there's
really
not much in it.
Yeah, I'm
They're
struggling.
very, very, very similar.
So let's do Epiphone standard versus Epiphone 61.
Okay.
Goodness me!
There's so much.
So because they're all the same colour guitar. They all basically, they all look identical.
So let me, so let me just stay on the back pickup and maybe I'll move around, but I want to just play the same kind of, with a little bit of gain on it.
Tiny bit less gain, maybe, and a bit less bass end on that, or
I was thinking there was a little bit more top in this one. But that could be the strings. You know, that could be a slightly newer set of strings. You know,
it could be, yeah. Oh, definitely more bass end on that. Definitely.
Yeah, just more of everything. I prefer the sound of this.
So do I.
Yeah.
Right.
And this sounds great, man. This sounds really good. I wish this had the plate.
I don't think there's any real price difference between these two, is it?
No, I think it's the same.
You just basically choose.
But I prefer that scratch plate.
Because you've got the pickup rings on here, whereas those are just mounted to the scratch plate. I don't particularly have a preference in terms of stylistically
Look-wise,
between the two.
I prefer that one. But that's just me. This one is...
What did Angus Young have? I think he had the 61, didn't he, with the...
I don't care what he had. It's what I like best.
Right. Pete,
yes,
put your blindfold on. Put the guitar back on the stand and put your blindfold on.
Oh, God. Okay.
It's all right. You can get your revenge on me.
Revenge.
Revenge. Revenge. Revenge. I love a bit of French sort of, you know, crooning. Danish Pete. Right. So, audience, what shall we give him first? We'll go with the 61s. So, shall we give him...
Do you want me to use this amp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. You've got gain. Okay. So we've got a 61 from one brand, you can see there, and a 61 from a different brand here. And eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's give him... Do you need me to plug it in for you first, do you?
Yeah, well, I can probably plug it in.
It's all right. I've got it. I've got it for you. Okay, with... I will even turn your tuner off for you. So here you are. Here is the first guitar. You can feel the weight. You can do whatever you want. Just don't feel the tip of the headstock, because that's where the giveaway is.
Don't feel the tip.
Don't say anything. And... Oh, thank you. And now you must guess which was which.
This neck feels slightly narrower somehow.
Enough, right.
That neck feels slightly slimmer and slightly different.
I'm not even going to tell you which was which. So they were the 61s.
Can I guess?
Go on, guess.
First was the Epiphone and the second was the Gibson.
I see. Well, I'm not going to tell you whether you were correct or not until we do the second one.
Okay.
So, same. Let me just check it's in tune. It is. Okay, so the second one. Now, this is the SG Standard. See if you can guess which way round I've given you these.
Oh, God. Is that full?
It is full, yes.
Sounds good, man.
Thank you. Thanking you. Right. And
oh man, that was really nice to play that one.
Sounds in tune to me. There you are, sir.
Ah, you're not giving me the same one, have you? Man, it's difficult. I don't think I can hear. Oh, I dropped my pick. I don't think I could hear it. They sound, because you're blindfolded, everything sounds so similar.
Do you want another pick?
I think I got one in my pocket.
I mean, I'm with you on that. That second one is super similar sounding. So come on, what was it? Which did you have first? The Epiphone or the Gibson?
Epiphone first, Gibson second.
Is that a guess, or is there something, some substance behind
that?
They
feel really similar, but I think the Gibson feels a bit more slinky to play. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that was my conclusion when we did the.
Well, you can
somehow the Gibson feels a bit more slinky.
By all means, take your mask off now, and bask in the glory of getting both correct.
Really?
I did think myself though, listening to it. The second one is tough, man.
But there's something in the Gibson which seems to me that feels more slinky with both of them. They feel a little bit easier, not easier to play, because the Epiphone is super duper easy to play, but there's in the string tension.
When you're
how's that possible?
When you're
can that be a thing?
I don't know. Maybe if the Epiphone's got 9s and the
I don't think that's the same. These feels like 10. I mean, which is this? Oh, that's a Gibson. Honestly, is it worth blindfolding me? I don't know, but I know when I know that one's an Epiphone and one's a Gibson, I'm convinced that I can feel the slightly shinier, more plasticky feel of the polyurethane neck, sharp frets.
And then I touch the. You got sharp frets?
No. Sometimes you can cut because what they're doing. I'm not saying sharp frets, but I'm saying when on the Gibsons they're
bound over the
fretboard.
Yeah, whereas
and on the Epiphones
fretted over the binding.
They're threaded over the binding, so you can. You can
kind of feel that, but not like in a sharp way, just in a sort of, they're just
it's a different feeling, but I think your brain automatically goes, that's
I still feel like, maybe it's something that, when I'm playing a nitro finish, or when I know that it's nitro, and they do feel marginally different.
Yeah.
And, I think it's just, but I don't even know I can't even put into words sort of what that feeling is.
That could be two Gibsons. That could feel that different,
Well,
do you want to be blindfolded or not? I don't know.
To be honest with you, I think really it's.
I'll take either. To be completely fair, it's
still going to fall into. My gut feeling is that if you've got your heart set on a Gibson and you've saved up and you've got the money, I don't think there's anything about the Epiphone that would make you go, oh, well, I don't want the Gibson anymore. I want the Epiphone.
If you got the money, I would buy it.
Yeah,
I would buy a Gibson
because I think they're clearly it is when you look at it, it is a superior guitar, and it is Yeah. It is. You can see construction-wise why it's cost more money.
Yeah, better pickups.
And you know that it's American-built as opposed to made in the Far East. Yeah. Having said that, though, if you just want a kick-ass SG and you've got better things to spend your money on than guitars, then Epiphone is. I mean, the 2020 Epiphone range, right from the the Muse stuff and it's.
And can I just tell you that if you have £1,000 to spend, you can get the Epiphone Les Paul and you can get an SG for less than £1,000.
The Les Paul and the SG, yeah, absolutely. Or you could buy the SG in a decent little valve amp for less than what a
or for less than 1,500 quid. You can. I mean, there's just.
Well, if you bought like a little Marshall DSL or a Blackstar HT or something like that,
or a Katana.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
we concluded? This is spooky because you're literally just going, I've got that one.
And here, have you noticed this? When you look down, if you're sitting and you're looking down at the guitar, now because they've changed this bit here, you don't really know, you can't see, especially not if it's. If you're looking at
I don't think they did this veneer thing on last year's on the G400. I think it was all. I don't know if I like that. If I'm completely honest with you, it's like now. The colour differentiation between the bevel and the top is more extreme. I like the fact on the Gibson that it is clearly just one piece of wood. But hey,
man, what do you get for 400 quid these days?
Let's be honest with you, no one's going to notice that when you're standing there rocking out.
No.
And it doesn't take away from the fact that it's a killer guitar.
Well, there we go then.
There we are.